In the shadow of mighty Rome, there rose a name that would send shivers through senators and strike fear into legends. Hannibal Barca, the scourge of Rome, the strategic genius of Carthage, and the man who dared the impossible. He was born into war. His father, Hannibal Barca, a Carthaginian commander, swore hatred against Rome into his son's heart. When Hannibal was just 9 years old, legend says he placed his hand upon the flames of a sacrifice and swore an oath to destroy Rome, and he kept that oath for a lifetime. Years passed. Hannibal grew into a military commander of unmatched brilliance. When he took command in Spain, he didn't waste time. He moved quickly, striking Roman allies, challenging their power, and then, in a move that shocked the ancient world, he made a choice no general had ever dared. He would march on Rome, not by sea, but through the mountains. Hannibal planned to strike Rome where they least expected, from the north. To do this, he would have to cross the Alps, the towering, icy wall that even the locals feared. His army of tens of thousands, foot soldiers, horsemen, and even war elephants began the trek. The journey was hellish. Snow blinded the men. Rock slides swept away entire columns. Food ran low. Frostbite claimed limbs. Yet through it all, Hannibal never turned back. He rallied his men with fire in his eyes. "You are not marching to death," he said. "You are marching to glory." After weeks of suffering, they emerged, torn, hungry, but alive. The impossible had been done. Hannibal had crossed the Alps. He now stood on Roman soil, ready to fulfill the oath of his childhood. What followed were some of the most brilliant battles in military history. At the Trebia River, he ambushed the Romans. At Lake Trasimene, he slaughtered an entire Roman army in a misty maze of terror. And then, at Cannes, he delivered a masterclass in war. At Cannes, Hannibal faced a Roman force twice his size. He let them push his center back, a trap. When they closed in, he surrounded them from the flanks and rear. In one day, he killed over 50,000 Roman soldiers. It was a massacre, a nightmare. Rome had never known defeat like this. Yet, he never took the city. Rome adapted. They refused to fight him directly again. They bled him slowly. Years passed. He waited for Carthage to send help. They never did. Eventually, Rome turned the tide. They struck back in Africa, and Hannibal, the man who once stood at Rome's gates, was forced to return home to defend his own city. In the Battle of Zama, he met his match in Scipio Africanus. He lost, but even in defeat, the legend of Hannibal only grew stronger. Exiled, hunted, hounded by Rome until his final days, he never stopped moving, never stopped fighting, even with words, ideas, and letters, and in his final act of defiance. When the Romans closed in, he took poison. "Let me deliver Rome from her fears," he said, "since she thinks it too long to wait for the death of a man." Hannibal died, but his name never did. He wasn't just a general. He was a storm, a force of nature, a warrior who bent mountains to his will and wrote his name into the marble of time.